And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the DoDcast Postgame Show. I'm your host, District on Deck co-editor Ricky Keeler. Another win for the Washington Nationals tonight. They beat the Pittsburgh Pirates by a final score of 8-4. They pick up win number 25 on the season. So when you got a team going 25-13 in their first 38 games, not much you can complain about. Bullpen made this one a little bit interesting, as it does every game. But the Nats find a way to get the victory. Offense came up huge today. Everybody got a hit. So when everybody gets a hit in the starting lineup, you know you've got yourself a great day offensively. And I thought Stephen Strasburg looked good as well. He had moments where his command was off, but I think he had a good start. We'll get into that as well. We'll also talk about the big news around the minors tonight involving Erick Fedde. So you want to stay tuned for that. And hopefully while we're on this DoDcast, Dusty Baker we'll name a starter for tomorrow, which, by the way, it's not Erick Fedde. If you're wondering, and we'll get to that in a little while. We want to hear from you. If you want to talk about tonight's game, talk about Strasburg, talk about Fedde, your thoughts on Erick Fedde, and Bryce Harper, another home run tonight. This guy just hits home runs like every game, it seems now. He's that locked in. Feel free to send a question over to the YouTube chat here. You can also tweet me on Twitter at Rickinator555 or at District on Deck. So like Ron does for you guys, and we're running through the totals. The Nationals, 8 runs, 14 hits, 1 error. That 1 error coming from Ryan Zimmerman, which we'll get to. Pirates, 4 runs, 8 hits, no errors. Stephen Strasburg gets the win. He's now 4-1 on the season. ERA at 3.42. Chad Kuhl takes the loss. He goes to 1-4. His ERA at 6.69. In a game that took 3.5 hours, and a game that should have maybe taken shorter than 3.5 hours. But the win's a win, like Ron says on the show. And I think tonight, I like the way how the Nats came out early against Chad Kuhl. They were getting a lot of leadoff hits, getting base runners on, and Kuhl did not have his cool at the plate tonight, on the mound tonight at least. And I thought when he got to the 5th inning, you had to take advantage of it. They got 2 men on base, and Clint Hurdle had to take Kuhl out of the game. They ended up getting a run in that inning on a Matt Wieters base hit off the wall. But all in all, it was a great night for the Nats all around. And what's up, Al? Hope everything's going well with you as your Red Sox are in St. Louis tonight. We'll get to that later. But, again, you look across the lineup. Trey Turner leads off the game. He gets a double. Jason Worth a base hit. So your 2 batters into the game, you already got a 1-0 lead. So when you can do that every night, you take it, and that's usually good for Stephen Strasburg when you can get a 1-run lead. Gave it right back, though, to Josh Harrison. Sole shot in the first on a changeup. And we told you, I wrote about it in our 5 to watch earlier this morning. Harrison's probably their best hitter right now in the lineup. Yes, Josh Bell can hit the ball out of the park. They do have McCutchen, but he's had a terrible start to the year. Harrison's consistent. He gets a lot of hits. He gets on base. And he's Mr. Versatility for them. So not surprised that Harrison had a good game tonight. He got the home run. But Ryan Zimmerman came up clutch again in the 3rd inning. He does it every day. Strasburg leads off with a base hit. Nearly got thrown out at first by Jaso, but he beats it out. Worth picks another hit. He had 3 hits tonight. And Zimmerman with a clutch 2-run double in the right field. Now has 15 doubles on the season. His RBI total now at 38. So in his average at 385. So the more Ryan Zimmerman plays, he just keeps being consistent, getting those hits when you need them. And I think the 3rd inning was important. You don't want to waste too many opportunities on the bases. And Zimmerman was able to keep that going. Then the Nats scored more runs in the 4th inning thanks to Wilmer Difo. His first home run of the season, crushed one to right center after a Michael Taylor triple. Daniel Murphy got the night off tonight. Dusty saying before the game it was for rest reasons. Couldn't really rest him in game 2 because you saw the Nats were really trying to win game 2 of that doubleheader on Sunday. And you might make the case to a fault. I know Ron has said to a fault they tried to win that game. But Difo crushed the ball off Kuhl, gave him a 5-1 lead. They tack on the 6th run, the Wieters single. And you think all was well because when you look at Strasburg tonight, he had his fastball command I thought was off at times. Was getting behind a lot of hitters. Did throw 68 of 108 pitches for strikes. But he gave up 3 runs on 4 hits, struck out 3, and walked 3. He didn't actually record a strikeout first time through the order, which is a little surprising. But if you've watched Stephen Strasburg all year, one of the things you've noticed is he's not a guy that's going to go out there and throw a lot of strikeouts anymore. With the way he pitched from the stretch, he's going to try to get those quick outs, get those ground ball outs, and That's really important right now for him. 68 strikes at 108 pitches. He did rebound well, I thought. 14 of 25 pitches for strikes in this ball game. Ground ball outs, there was 8 of them, so a decent number there. He could have got through the 7th inning, but he was getting squeezed on a lot of calls by the home plate umpire, and I'm not usually one that usually complains about umpiring. So I'm not really going to go into that, but that kind of cost him there. A couple of pitches were right on the inside corner. So Dusty makes the decision, goes to Matt Albers, who's arguably been one of their best reliever going in. And then Albers gives up a base hit to Jordy Mercer to load the bases after a Bell double and a Cervelli walk in Strasburg. Then Albers gets the ground ball by Osuna that he wants, but Ryan Zimmerman, and everybody knows this, his arm is not great. That's why he's at first base. Makes a terrible throw to short, allows 2 runs to score. You got a 6-3 ball game. Then Dusty goes to Albert Perez, and Perez gives him a base hit, blue pit to Adam Frazier. It's now 6-4. You're wondering what the heck's going on. Everybody's going panicking on Twitter, and rightfully so. And Blake Trinan comes in, gets a double play on Harrison, and a strikeout on McCutchen. And you can make the case that's the best that Blake Trinan's looked all season long. He was throwing 98, 97, 98. That sinker got McCutchen on a slider, 90 miles per hour down in the zone. If Blake Trinan can keep that confidence that he had tonight, you could see his season turn around. I'm not going to say it is going to turn around right now, but at least tonight, definitely a good sign. Let's check the chat room here. What's going on? What's up, Chris? Michael Taro looks better every day, and he one hit tonight, did get the triple. But he is, no question about it. He's feeling more comfortable. I think that he knows that it's his job to lose. He's got this job for the foreseeable future, and this is really one of his last chances, so we had to be able to take advantage of that. To the rest of the bullpen, Eddie Romero, a 1-2-3 8th inning, looked really good in that 8th inning. Had a couple of loud outs, but he found his way out of them. And Coda Glover did give up a couple of hits late, but 2 strikeouts. Didn't get a save opportunity, but nevertheless, he had a good outing. I'm still waiting to see that first clean inning save chance for Glover. I mean, we're at May 16th, and Glover still hasn't had a chance to save a game and start an inning in that role. Eventually, that's going to happen. But the Nationals' offense scores so many runs, there's a reason why it hasn't happened. So Glover got the job done, and the reason that he didn't get a save opportunity was Bryce Harper. Crushes a ball in right field in the 9th inning off Wade LeBlanc. That ball was about 3 rows away from being into the river. He's now got 13 home runs. He's got 36 RBIs, 3 home runs now in his last 4 games. The guy's on fire right now. There's no way to explain it. When he's this locked in, he's one of the toughest guys to get out in the league, and you have to be careful to pitch to him. You got Zimmerman behind him. On nights, you got Daniel Murphy behind him. Anthony Rendon's hitting the ball well. And a good game for Trey Turner, too. 2 for 5. He steals a base, takes about 20 pitches. Second on the team for behind Jason Worth, who took 24. So the Nats end up finding a way to get the win 8-4. They were 4 for 13 with man scoring position. But they got the big hits and they need them, and I think it's the most important thing. You can have a lot of chances, which Cools struggles in the mound will give you a lot of chances. But they took advantage of those. Chris said, what happens when the offense goes cold? That's where I think you have to rely on your starting pitching, which has been pretty good this year. Strasburg, I thought, has been strong. Gio's been good. Max, obviously, has been, Max. And the problem with Tanner Roark, I think, is just you've got to make adjustments. And we'll see if he does on Thursday afternoon against Tyler Glasnow. But if something's not in the strike zone, change your pitch up a little bit. Don't try to throw the same pitch. And that's where I think Roark runs into trouble. We do have breaking news, by the way. It's just been confirmed. Jacob Turner is going to start tomorrow. I can't say I agree with this, and I'll tell you why. Either way, the Nats are at a tough road tomorrow against a guy like Garrett Cole, who is, I wrote about it in the 5 to watch. He's been excellent this year. He just gets no run support. You can make the case Cole's record. Pirates think only have like 6 wins from their starting pitchers this year. They've had a lot of bad luck because their offense doesn't score a lot of runs. But Turner threw 11 pitches on Saturday, 19 pitches on Sunday. Now I'm going to ask him to throw basically on 3 days rest tomorrow. Like, you're putting Turner in a bad spot, and I don't know how many pitches he can give you. Can he give you 80? Can he give you 80, 75? 85? You basically turn this into a bullpen game tomorrow. And I don't know if I agree with that. I don't want to say Dusty's giving up a game, but you're throwing Turner out there. Tough situation. And Chris said, who would I start instead of Turner? I mean, right? That's how bad the depth in the farm system is right now. Because AJ Cole, when he sent down Syracuse, now can't come up for a while. He looked bad to start last night. I think he didn't get out. He was about 3 innings, if that, if I remember correctly. Then you have Joe Ross, and Joe Ross isn't ready. The velocity's not there. They wanted to work on it. I was reading Jorge Castillo's mailbag in the Washington Post talking about his arm slot, and they want to fix that so his slider's not as flat. But that kind of leads into Erick Fedde, and that was the big news tonight. Chelsea James of the Washington Post saying that according to a person familiar with the situation, Erick Fedde is going to pitch out of the bullpen this year. Now, you look at what some of Chelsea's articles in the Post. I recommend you read it. She puts, I'll read a quote from it. Though Fedde will not immediately join the big league bullpen, the Nationals do believe he could be ready to do so this season. Their bullpen has floundered all season. None of the young relievers in the system have shown enough to merit a big league call-up yet. She also talks about how he relies heavily on the fastball slider arsenal, one the Nationals believe he can build on moving forward, but it also fits a reliever role. Now, throw out this disclaimer here. I'm a Yankees fan. I've seen relievers to starters to relievers with Phil Hughes, Java Chamberlain, Ian Kennedy. The list goes on and on. I've seen how you can ruin a development of a top prospect. I watched Erick Fedde on Thursday. I think his slider is good. I think his changeup is good. Fastball command's got a little bit to work on, but I think his fastball is good enough. And it just shows you how bad the bullpen is, or how bad the state of the bullpen is. Yes, there's innings limits to keep in mind, and we're in an age where innings limits are important. That's just the way the game is. You don't like it, you're old school. I tend to lean toward where your opinion is, if that's your opinion on it. But I thought he looked pretty good first 7 starts in Double-A this year. So it kind of surprising to me, and we'll get into how he pitched in the bullpen. He did appear tonight in the 7th inning for Harrisburg. His off-speed stuff is nasty. We'll see if that maybe transitions to a bullpen role. And I still view him as a starter long-term, which is good. He should be your future, I would say, number 3 behind Scherzer and Strasburg. I'm always nervous, though, changing guys' roles back and forth. Now, I was one that said I wanted him to go to AAA and start some and then go to the big leagues. But now, Fedde being a bullpen guy, you're banking a lot that Joe Ross is going to figure things out. Because if Joe Ross doesn't figure it out, what do you got left in AAA right now that you trust? You don't have much. I know the Syracuse bullpen has pitched better, but Austin Adams just got hurt the other day. They have Joe Nathan, but not much else there. Double-A has had its fair share of struggles in the bullpen at Harrisburg. It's a mess. It's a mess, and there's no nice way to put it. I don't agree with the move. I know Ron doesn't agree with the move, and Ron's going to have a column on this tomorrow morning that you can check out. I think it's going to be in this article. In the video is in his article, so if you're listening to it tomorrow, you're probably reading the article. But Ron disagrees with it too. I think it can hurt the development of a young starting pitcher. You hope not. And I think he's got good stuff. I was just kind of surprised that he's not getting this opportunity to face AJ Cole. And if Jacob Turner only throws 70 pitches, what are you really going to get tomorrow out of the pen? You have Blanton available. You have Kelly. But that's where you look back on Sunday, and why was AJ Cole not called up and Matt Grace was used for 14 pitches? I don't get that. It's something to explain. Why don't you have Cole as a long man knowing, hey, I want to use Jacob Turner on Wednesday? You have to manage the doubleheader game with future games in mind. And you've had a guy throw back-to-back games on the weekend, almost 20 pitches in one of them, and I would have come out here tomorrow night and pitch. To me, it was just a surprise. Chris asked why so much faith in Ross. When he got called up, Chris, he showed good poise and good command. He's got, I think, good secondary pitches. I think you got to fix the arm slot, like I read about in Castillo's mailbag post. I think that was well put. And he just has to get his confidence back. This is a guy who, when he came up, I was so impressed with the poise that he had. And I think he's got to find that again in order to be productive. I think that's really what it comes down to. You have faith in Ross because there's really nobody else you could put faith in. And that's really the whole story. And maybe if Fedde comes up in the second half of the season and does great out of the bullpen because his team's trying to win a championship. They're looking at the now. Maybe the win now is for Fedde to win, to be in this bullpen, help him out and try to win. So maybe you don't have to use some of those top prospects to get a closer, which I think they'll eventually have to do anyway. But Fedde's untouchable. I think Robles is untouchable, at least in my mind. So we'll see how this pans out. This was a real surprise tonight to see that. I think everybody was expecting Fedde to start tomorrow, and it will be Jacob Turner. So we'll see what happens with that. Garrett Cole's an excellent starting pitcher. Tough to get runs against him. He's had 7 straight quality starts. He's always pitching deep into games. When you looked at the series, this was the one game tomorrow you thought the Pirates would get. If you can somehow steal it, that's great. But if not, you've got a good pitching matchup on Thursday with Tanner Roark and Tyler Glasnow. Glasnow's been bad, and Roark, I think, can beat a struggling Pirates offense. Let's look around the division. What's going on tonight? One game that's gone final. The Astros blew out the Marlins 12-2. Miami's been terrible this year. Dallas Keuchel gets the win there. He goes to 7-0 with a 1.84 ERA. If that's not your AL Cy Young favorite right now, I don't know who is. Jake Marisnick with a pair of home runs tonight for Houston. They're 28-12. To me, they're the best team in baseball. No question about it. Earlier today in Toronto, the Braves beat the Blue Jays 9-5. Freddie Freeman, a home run, his 14th of the season. Dansby Swanson had the go-ahead home run in the 7th. Jose Ramirez got the win there. Atlanta goes to 15-21. 2 games in progress right now in the division. Nope, actually, the other one's gotten final. Texas beat the Phillies 5-1. Lone RBI for the Phillies coming from Freddie Galvis. Jared Eichhoff took the loss. He goes to 0-4. Yu Darvish got the win, struck out 9 over 7 innings for the Rangers. A couple of home runs from Nomar Mazara and Mike Napoli. The one division game in progress right now, the Mets down 4-1 in the bottom of the 4th to the Diamondbacks. Arizona scored all 4 runs in the 3rd inning. Paul Goldschmidt stole home in this game. Not going to be a great matchup for the Mets, who've lost 5 straight. Tommy Malone is starting for them against Zach Greinke. You're probably not going to have a great chance to win in that case. So not good times for the Mets. So the Nats, if that result holds, will have a 9-game lead in the NL East. So think about it. You got all these bullpen problems. You got all these starter depth problems, and you might be up 9 in the East by the end of tonight. So, considering everything, all things have gone well. Chris says, "What about Urban Santana?" Santana's got a good case. I've seen him a little bit. I like the way Keuchel's thrown. I watched him over the weekend against New York, and to me, when he's locked in like that, tough. Jason Vargas has a good case too, by the way, early. Let's go around the minors and see what's happening tonight. Syracuse, a tough loss to Buffalo, 6-3 tonight. The loss going to Matt Grace. Kyle McGowan, a nice quality outing, 6 innings, 3 runs. He struck out 3 on 83 pitches. RBIs from Rafael Bautista, Andrew Stevenson picking up his 3rd RBI, and Grant Green, his 1st RBI of the season. 2 hits for Green tonight, so the Chiefs dropped to 12-22. Harrisburg, we mentioned Erick Fedde got to pitch in this game. The Bowie Bay Sox pick up a 6-4 win. RBIs for Neftali Soto and Drew Ward picked up a pair of RBIs. He's at 20 now in the season. Soto's at 26. Couple of multi-hit games, Jose Marmoleos and Rowdy Reed. Jaron Long took the loss. Rough night for him. 5 runs, 8 hits over 3 innings. Really his first bad start of the year. Fedde went 1 inning, gave up a run on 1 hit. Struck out 2 and walked 1, 22 pitches, and only threw 12 of them for strikes. Also had a wild pitch. So not the best night for Fedde. In the bullpen, Ryan will have more on that tomorrow. He watched a little bit of that game while I was live tweeting this one. So he'll have you covered there, but not the best debut for Fedde, at least out of the pen. But we'll keep an eye on his progression. And usually when one of us is live tweeting the game, another one's going around the minor leagues checking things out. So we'll keep an eye on that throughout. Potomac with a nice shutout win over Wilmington tonight. 10-0 your final. Just 4 hits for Wilmington. A nice start for Luis Reyes. 6 1/3 of 1 hit ball, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk. Of course, the big story for Potomac today, Jeffrey Rodriguez, an 80-game suspension for PED use. And it's disappointing because he had a 1-hitter the other day. And it's always disappointing when a player gets suspended for performance-enhancing drugs. So that's really the big news from today, from off the field wise. On the field, Potomac's offense continues to hit the ball well. Taylor Gashu, who we talked to, and you'll see my interview with him on the site later this week, he hit his 12th home run of the season, by far the home run leader in the Carolina League. Brian Mejia with a home run, Austin Davidson with a home run. 2-hit night for Victor Robles at the plate. Edwin Lohr is hitting the ball pretty well too, 11 RBIs for him, a couple RBIs for Ian Sagdahl. So a good night for Potomac, who now is at 500, 19-19. Finally, in Asheville, the Hagerstown Suns, 6-3 win this morning. Carlos Pena picked up the win for the Suns, who now are 23-15. Nick Banks with 2 RBIs. He's at 22. Jake Knoll, a pair of RBIs to go to 22. He had a home run as well. And Anderson Franco, a home run. 2 more hits for Daniel Johnson. He's at 308 now in his average this year. So the Suns at 23-15. And they're playing really well. They got a big series coming up with Lakewood. Trying to clinch that first half division title and get into the playoffs. Always fun to keep an eye on what those minor league races are like. So again, I think you look at tonight's game, a lot of positives to take from it. I thought Stephen Strasburg had a quality performance. He's been pitching the ball well this year. Definitely the change to the stretch has worked out for him. Getting a lot of ground ball outs, not working out on the strikeouts. 3 tonight is tied for the second lowest this year, but he's given you about 6 innings every night, pitching into the 7th nearly every night. He's done that all but once this year. He's been the consistent pitcher that you've been looking for, and as long as he stays healthy, he should have a strong season. And the offense delivers again. I mean, when you have this kind of offense that you get a hit from everybody, you've got arguably the best offense in the game, and that's without Adam Eaton. I mean, if you had Adam Eaton in this lineup, imagine how good it would be. So Jacob Turner and Garrett Cole will go tomorrow night. That game, 7:05 Eastern, first pitch on Masson. So I'm sure it'll be an interesting game. I am not with you the rest of the week. I have a couple of events going on. So Ron will be with you DoDcasting throughout the rest of the week. I'm sure he'll be joined by a couple of our writers here, so you won't just hear Ron's voice, you'll hear other people's voice as well. So he'll have an article up in Fedde tomorrow. Chris Lacey had an article about Ryan Zimmerman, his chase for the Triple Crown. Hasn't happened in a long time in the National League. So Zimmerman, it's early, but it's always fun to look at where he might stand in those races. Of course, Bryce Harper taught him tonight in the home run department. I don't know if he'll have more home runs than Bryce Harper at the end of the year, but it's a fun column to read from Chris. I've got a couple other articles working on. I said Ron's got the article on Erick Fedde going up in the morning. I'm writing an article. I want to throw this out there, and I apologize. We did our show on Sunday, and the Judo Joker, who comments all of our shows, and if you're listening, Joker, we thank you for tuning in. He sent me a question we didn't have time to get to about the bullpen in terms of in the draft, because I've been starting to do some draft profiles with MLB draft being June 12th. Can they find a reliever in the draft? It's tough because not everybody's Brandon Finnegan. If you remember, he's the guy from the Royals who pitched in the College World Series and then pitched in the World Series. You don't see that every year, or I think he was the first to do it. But I found a reliever that you might like. His name's Colton Hawk. He's the closer at Stanford. So, yep, Joe Jokes, I remembered your question. I didn't want you to think I forgot it. Remember, the Nats drafted Drew Storen out of Stanford. So I don't know if they'll take him with the 25th pick. I'm looking to see where he is in mock drafts right now, so I'm writing that up for some point tomorrow. But Colton Hawk is a name 14 saves this year, tied for fourth in Division One. He has some starter experience too, so he's another guy you can figure out starter, reliever, what's the best spot for him. But I think the Nats will go after pitching. I don't have any sources on that, so I wouldn't quote me on that. They'll take a pitcher, but going off track record, for the last 6 years, they've taken a right-handed pitcher in the first round. So it wouldn't surprise me if they go that direction. And I don't know what the stats say, but it has to have a massive benefit. Another night, good off the stretch and have a Nats starting pitcher. Good point. Scherzer hits the ball well. Strasburg picks up a hit. Gio's been hitting. Even when you get the pitchers getting hits, you know everybody's doing everything right. So it's a good point. I like when you talk about when the pitchers get hits, you get more RBI opportunities for Turner and have RBI chances for Jason Worth, who's hitting the ball well right now. Not everybody's 100% clicking, but when they do, you just saw a 23-run game a few weeks ago. It's absolutely scary. So again, follow us on Twitter at District on Deck. Subscribe to the YouTube channel here. Again, we have all of our podcasts here, all of our minor league interviews here. If you missed Ian Sagdahl, Carter Keyboom, Andrew Stevenson, you got Taylor Gashu coming up later this week. I got to talk to him on Monday. Great guy. You'll hear about his off-season trade story. Remember, he was traded to the Nationals in late September when the season's already over. So you'll hear about his fun story with that trade story at some point later this week. And he's crushing the ball in the Carolina League. So who wouldn't you want to hear from that? Now, the Nats have a lot of depth at catcher with Roddy Reed, Gashu, Severino in AAA, and even Jackson Reitz. Hopefully he's developed in Hagerstown. So you'll hear more about Gashu tomorrow. Hit the like button, share button, etc. on the YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter at Rickinator555. Like us on Facebook. Just hit the like button. All of our articles, all of our DoDcasts are there. So the Nats get the win tonight, 8-4, now 25-13, and have a chance at least to win another series tomorrow, or if not Thursday afternoon, with Roark against Glasnow. And this is a stretch of games. If you want to blow away in the division, I think Drew's working on something like that. If you want to end this division, not totally end it, but really put a big dent in the NL East lead, make it go from 9 to like 14 or 15. You've got a stretch of games now. Next month you play close second to last or last place teams. Take advantage of it. So from all of us, District on Deck, for Ron, Drew, Frank, for our entire team, and Chris, I'm Ricky Keeler saying have a great night. I'm sure I'll talk to you at some point soon on Twitter, but Ron will talk to you guys tomorrow night after Jacob Turner against Garrett Cole.